Hey guys, it's Grade. I'm here with the League Start Guide for the Witch. This is meant for the Infernalist, but you can also use it to level a Witch for the upcoming Lich Ascendancy. The patch notes aren't out yet, so everything is kind of subject to change, but for the most part, I think minions will be pretty much the same. I'm going to cover early Act 1, which minions you want to use, and a couple of playstyles you can go for. For me, I'm a fan of the scattershot with gas arrow because it does a lot of damage. And I'll be going over the minions, the gearing, and the passive tree. Now you should be able to get through the campaign quick and never need to overlevel to overcome any of the challenges. So the first skill you're going to want is Contagion. Contagion Rex. It's really good. After that, you could go for gas arrow, depending whenever you get your next skill gem. But look at how good Contagion clears, right? That's without even adding any gas arrow. But Contagion is really good because it spreads poison as well. So that stacked with gas arrow is really good. Essence Drain eventually whenever you can get it. I'll go into which skills to use and what to get. Like right now, I'm using, if you see on screen, I'm using the Arsonist. I encourage you to really experiment with having Arsonists, snipers, all of them, cross mages. Obviously later on, it's going to start to really be kind of apparent about which one you want to use. The thing with the Arsonists is they're really great to use because there's less of a mental stack when you're playing with Arsonists. You can kind of forget about what's going on. Just have them just constantly throwing stuff. You're just spamming, command detonate. You'll use your unleash, make some exploding bombs, like exploding bomb minions like this. And eventually, whenever you get your raging spirits, you can just command detonate those guys too. The only issue with the Arsonists is that they don't really do that much damage. Their damage leaves a lot to be desired. So you got scattershot, you put it on the Arsonist, but look at that, a gas explosion, right? Kind of foreshadowing here. With the gas explosion, it's kind of what I went with and what I think is best for the campaign is going gas arrow, all snipers. It does tons of damage, but in the early in the early part of Act 1, you don't have that much spirit, so you don't have the ability to have that many snipers. So you're gonna kind of mix and match. You're gonna have, 2 Arsonists, a sniper, and whoever can get the most DPS out. But you're gonna be wanting to cast Contagion everywhere. Eventually, you'll get Essence Drain. And it just stacks and it just clears. So remember that, right? Skill rotation, Contagion, gas arrows, command detonate, having a great time. Act 1 is super fun. You can try all kinds of stuff. Once we start to move towards Act 2 and you start to get more spirit, then you'll start to get more command abilities, and we'll go into that. So I have my skills pulled up here. So this is after the campaign, but I'm going to talk about early endgame skills that you're going to want to get in the order that you're going to get them. So get Contagion first. And then you can get a skeletal sniper minion. And then you can get an Arsonist. That's what I would do. The reason why you want the Arsonist second, well, first you want the gas arrow because gas arrow stacks with Contagion and spreads the gas. So you have 2 poisons going around. It's really good for clearing waves. And then once you get your flame wall, you can detonate the gas. And it's just a huge nuke. The only downside is you only have 1 skeletal sniper in the beginning, so it's not really that beneficial. So a really early game, skeletal sniper is kind of where it's at, because if you put scattershot and skeletal sniper or skeletal arsonist, you can have 2 arsonists and they're constantly just clearing for you. It's really good. They do really well for clear. Once you get more spirit and you can get more snipers, you'll start to lean into snipers heavily because then you can just spam command gas arrow. But yeah, so Contagion, right? First, skeletal snipers or arsonists, and then firewall. Then you'll get your raging spirit once you kill the bog witch. And then you'll have Essence Drain in there. So then you have a little bit of freedom on how you want to do your skill rotation. I would always start off with Contagion just because it's easy. Or throw in a gas arrow first, just so you can get everyone poisoned, either or. So that will spread around. And then your Raging Spirits. If you're not using the snipers, then you're just spamming Fireballs, Raging Spirits, and having Arsonist clear. Which is perfectly fine. This is what I used too for a bit until it started to get overshadowed by gas arrow. So let's look at the fight with Count Geonor. Alright, so there he is, Count Geonor. At this point, when I got here, I literally was kind of underleveled. I think I was 1 level underleveled. I got lucky with my scepter, so I have quite a bit of spirit. I have 165. But yeah, I have 1 of each minion. I have a sniper minion, an arsonist, and a frost mage. And all you're doing is you're just kind of going around and spamming abilities. Just don't get hit. Another thing I neglected to mention, this is more so for the gear section, is movement speed boots. If you can get movement speed boots, you really want to get those because that'll really help you with dodging and getting out of range of all these like abilities that he's got. All these targeted areas that you have to leave the area, otherwise you'll take damage. Those things are really important to avoid using movement speed boots. But if you look at the fight, I'm doing more than enough damage, right? We're putting down Contagion. We're using Raging Spirits. There's gas arrows going down. And before you know it, he's already in phase 2. And it's just kind of just waiting for him to die, really. And just spamming as many abilities as you can as soon as they come up. And just making sure you refresh Contagion every time. Right? Put in some gas arrows. Just kind of wait. This is where a part that a lot of people can kind of die too, just because there's an AoE. And see right there, I dodged that circle because of movement speed boots. If you don't have movement speed boots, it's kind of a pain. It's a little bit annoying. This little section, you can get kind of overwhelmed if you don't have enough DPS. But as far as minion builds, because your DPS is based on the passive skill tree, it's you have more than enough damage. You just have to... Well, as I say that, I almost die, but we're fine. I keep getting hit by him for some reason, but if you look at it, right, I'm just ensuring my Raging Spirits is up. If all my minions are dead, Raging Spirits is pretty much the best way to have DPS go down. Use Raging Spirits, don't forget your potions, and then keep casting Contagion. And before you know it, he'll be over there, you'll be out of it, and then you'll just keep casting every single ability. Now, this would have gone faster if I had all skeletal snipers using scattershot and just using detonate gas arrow. It would have been over way quicker. But this just goes to show you that you can really get away with a lot. So here's my gear when I killed Count Geonor, right? Random stuff. I got this helmet. Pretty lucky, right? +1 level of all minion skills, but I don't think you need it. If I just stuck to using scattershot with gas arrow and firewall, he would have got chunked down. He would have got chunked down a lot quicker. But, you know, you can mess around, have a bunch of different minions going on. So all blue items, nothing good. This one, this is really good. This is kind of an anomaly, right? I got this as the very first purchase from the vendor. Like when I went back after a level, I was like, what the hell? This is here. So 30% increased spirit, +1 level of all minions. Obviously, you're not going to have this, right? So if you only had 2 minions, you should do this with 2 snipers. 2 snipers, scattershot on them. Just spam command gas arrow and use your Raging Spirits. Just use those and you'll be perfectly fine. You'll be all right. The big thing for survivability for this fight, I think, is the movement speed boots. So if you can get 10% boots, that's where it's at. Like, I can't stress enough having movement speed boots. And then this is just some random belt that I found. The other thing too, that's the biggest tip that kind of people forget to do, is upgrading their potions. Upgrade your health potion and your mana potion. Those are going to be crucial. And you can upgrade them pretty frequently, actually. So make sure you're upgrading your potions. Otherwise, you'll start to notice you're not getting enough life. And then, you know, you'll get stuck somewhere. So here's a rematch with Count Geonor in Cruel difficulty. You can see how much damage the gas arrow does. It does a lot. One little thing too, if you want the gas to like permeate before it explodes because the dog will auto detonate it, you can put brutality on the dog. And it is kind of useful for some maps. You kind of want the gas to kind of like expand before you actually detonate it, so you can get the biggest AoE explosion that you can kind of get. That's what you would do. You would stick brutality on it and on the dog, and then you can manually detonate the gas arrow with firewall. Here's mapping. Kind of towards Act 3, right? Quite a bit of a jump. We got 230 spirit. I have a skeletal storm mage just debuffing, but the way I have the passive tree set up, I have AoE and cooldown, so I basically never run out of gas arrows, and I'm just chunking stuff. In this little video against the Bog Witch in Act 3, Cruel, I'm showing you the difference in DPS from the Arsonist, having pure Arsonist, and then when I take her down to half-life, I'll switch to the archers or the snipers, and then you'll see the difference. See, it takes quite a bit of time, right? You got the Arsonist going. I only have 4 Arsonists because I only have 190 spirit at this point in time in the game, right? So I can only have so many, and there's not really anything to command detonate except the Raging Spirits, so the damage isn't that great with the command detonate. So for bossing and elites, gas arrow is where it's at. I've said that too many times already, but I kind of really want to stress it. But like I said, though, the advantage with snipers is that there's less mental stack. You don't have to worry about all kinds of things happening. You don't have to worry about like whatever. You're kind of just going and mowing stuff down. So this is me switching over, right? And then here you go, right? If you take a look, boom. He just gets chunked. Just chunks of health just disappearing. So that's why I kind of stress using the snipers. Here's Doryani at the end. I got 230 spirit, still has 6 snipers, the 1 storm mage, and it's basically the same strat. I'll put on contagion or essence drain if I feel like I need it, and then I'll just spam gas arrow. And he pretty much just gets taken down. And it's the same story for pretty much all the bosses, everywhere you find. And this is what how it's gonna be. So you'll see here there's 35% shock chance, which is really nice. Just add more debuffs with your storm mage. It's funny because I even have lightning damage on my scepter if they're in range. So even sometimes shock will get triggered from the gas arrow explosions. And this is pretty much it. After this, it's really easy. You shouldn't get hung up on any sections of the game. You'll definitely die if you play like me, because I like to just run in and be under leveled and whatever. I'm just trying to get here as fast as possible, but I've never gotten stuck on anything. I'll maybe die to like a one-shot somewhere. I'll have a little compilation of deaths at the end of this, but unless you're playing hardcore, I don't really see the need to be worrying about dying, because you really won't get stuck anywhere. And you see how fast his health goes down. Not saying that you couldn't do this with Arsonist or any other minion. It's just a lot quicker and easier with the snipers, with how much damage they do. I tested storm mages, frost mages, reavers, and they're all not as good in the DPS realm as these guys. Okay, let's talk about the gear. So here's my gear right here. I'm gonna talk about the priorities of what you should be getting as you're leveling. So the things you want every time, right? If you're missing anything and you want to upgrade every level, the vendors refresh their inventory, kind of. They'll add things to the inventory. So the things you're looking for are spirit, and then plus minions, movement speed, potions. This is really important. Potions, you actually upgrade these quite a bit. You should always check back if you could upgrade potions. Energy shield, any resistances. And then I have shield charge here because if you are using a shield, you can add shield charge if you want to have a little bit more movement speed. I didn't for my run, so it's just in here as a suggestion. But if you look at my gear, right? Let's move this out of the way. I got really lucky with this scepter. I've never had this kind of luck ever. Then leave it to the fact when I make a league start, something really nice like this pops. +3 minion levels and a 30 spirit. Ideally, the 30 spirit is really good. The +3, if you find a scepter with 3 minion levels and no spirit, that's almost just as good because it reduces the reservation rate for the snipers by quite a bit, and which means more snipers, more gas arrows, that whole deal. But if you can only get spirit or one or the other, you know, try to get spirit, because yeah, you need as much spirit as you can get. Rings don't really have anything, right? Fire res. My helmet, this is just something that I found, so good amount of energy shield, cold resist. All this stuff is rare right now because I've been doing a little bit of mapping, so this was actually all blue. This is my necklace right here, right? See, there's no spirit on my amulet. Just maximum mana, some intelligence, damage recouped is mana. I have a focus here that has +2 level of all spells. This is nice for contagion and essence drain. Gives you that extra damage, so any plus level of all spells is really good. If you look at my offhand, I was actually using this the whole time until I found this focus. And this is +2 level of all chaos spells and chaos damage. The other ring, nothing really important. Strength, mana, lightning res. And then right here, movement speed, right? 20% increased movement speed. I think you can get like 25s, but I wasn't having any luck. This is all I got. So, energy shield, no reses. This chest, also super lucky. I'm getting pretty lucky on this run for just like random drops. Trifecta chest, right? I've never seen anything like this the whole time I was playing the campaign until I tried to make a video about it. But really, it's like, you're not really getting hit that often. When you do, maybe you might die or whatever, but you have so much DPS with the gas arrows, you're not going to get stuck anywhere. Maybe you'll get caught and get one-shotted by some mechanic that you haven't seen or wasn't prepared for, but you'll definitely win within the second try or third try. You'll never get stuck and like have to give up or anything like that. And right here, double res, gloves. All right, so that's all the gear, and this is how I would do it. Spirit, once again, minions, move speed. Potions is really good. I can't say how much you gotta always check your potions. Energy shield, we'll see what happens in the patch, right? Maybe my gut energy shield might be a waste, but for the campaign, it should be fine. Now, let's go into the minions and the skills, right? Talk about the minions. In the max roll, I have it linked out to where the skills are. The jewels are going to be in order of importance, right? So we're going to go over the skeletal sniper minion first. Super important, scattershot on this guy. And then before you can get these two, these are both level 2s. What I would have in with scattershot is magnified effect, wherever it is. I have it here somewhere. Here you go. I would actually have magnified effect in here until I started getting level 2 support gems. Once I got level 2 support gems, then I slotted in feeding frenzy and then bidding. Bidding is another 30% more damage for your minion commands. So it's really good. So this allows our gas arrow to hit really, really hard, right? Now we'll bring up the arsonists. Where are they? So arsonists are fine. If you want to play with arsonists, you can. And I did level with them in Act 1 when you have really low amount of spirit, and they're really good for clear. But once I started to get a lot of skeletal snipers, I really didn't feel like they were doing that much better because the snipers were so good at killing rares and bosses. But essentially, it would be this, right? If you wanted to play arsonist, scattershot, feeding frenzy, and then wherever magnified effect is. Well, on my... Yeah, right here. This would be for your arsonists. See, the thing with arsonists is they cost a lot, so if I got rid of all those snipers, I only have 4 arsonists. Then I could take this out. I could get 5, right? 5 arsonists. Yeah, you could have something like this. But early levels, you're not gonna have a storm mage. You're not gonna have a cleric. You're just gonna have either arsonists or you're gonna have snipers. You could have a mix of both, but it really depends on how much spirit you have, like, and the level of your minions, because the reservation cost is gonna be so high. You're probably gonna be running 3 snipers for a little bit of time, and that's enough. 3 gas arrows is a lot. If you can land all 3 gas arrows with scattershot, with ignite stuff, with your raging spirits, using your detonation, it does a lot of damage. So let's talk about contagion, right? Your first spell when you get contagion, your first support is going to be unleash, and then whenever you can, this is a level 2 spell, put hinder on here. Makes it really good. Makes it really like nice quality of life. The slow on here is really good. So then your skill rotation is going to be like either contagion or gas arrow first, and then whenever you feel like you're ready to blow it up, you'll blow it up with raging spirits. But if you have your dog will automatically blow up the gas for you, right? And if you're tired of your dog blowing up the gas for you automatically, you could slap brutality on him. If you put brutality on the dog, he'll stop auto-igniting the gas, and then you could go back to manually detonating it. Sometimes you want to manually detonate when there's a lot of slow mobs. You can have them kind of like, you can have the gas expand a bit and like cover more area before you detonate. And other times, when the mobs are really fast, when they're just rushing you, you kind of don't have that time to cast firewall. So the dog, it's nice to have the dog auto detonate. So I actually go back and forth taking the brutality off, whether I want auto detonate or if I want manual detonations. Now, if you're playing Arsonist, you don't have to do any of that, right? The mental stack playing Arsonist is totally different. You're just casting firewalls. There's just flame everywhere. There's just, you know, you're just going crazy. You're just letting these guys do the job, which is perfectly fine if you want to play it that way. So that's a good segue into the Raging Spirits, right? What I have on the Raging Spirits, I actually have Infernal Legion, because I actually like it when their health ticks down. So that way, if I'm using Arsonists, I can command detonate the Raging Spirits. And it's good for clear. You could put Fire Infusion in here if you wanted to. Fire Infusion's fine. I just have Lacerate in here because I like to have them bleed. And then I have the dog with Bloodlust, so the dog does more melee damage. So that's how I have this set up, and the dog is martial tempo. So really, these are nice, but the majority of your damage is gonna come from clearing with your arsonist or your gas arrow from your skeletal snipers. And right here, special shout out to Essence Drain. Essence Drain is really good when you don't have minions up, because a lot of times when bosses kill all your minions or in your long fight and you're waiting for revives, all your damage is gonna come from Contagion, Essence Drain, and Raging Spirits. That's what you'll do when all your minions are down and you're waiting for them to revive. You'll do those. And then these other guys, like, let me talk about the Frost Mage actually first. I tried all Frost Mages. It wasn't as good. The freeze was nice, but the damage was really lackluster. It didn't have the clear power of Arsonists, and they cost a bit more. Or they're almost the same, 39 versus 41. So even if they were the same, it didn't feel good. Even their command, the Ice Bomb, it also felt kind of lackluster. If only Scattershot could be put on these guys and you had 3 Ice Bombs, they would be top for sure. Like, I didn't like them. You could use them. I used them in the early Act 1, and it was kind of fun to have them just because I had one of each minion, but I didn't really like it. Skeletal Storm Mage, I think these guys were better. They felt better than the Frost Mages. When I had a bunch of Skeletal Storm Mages, it felt like they cleared faster. They cleared almost the same speed as the Arsonist actually. It's just they don't really have a command ability because they need a dead skeleton body to use Death Storm. So it was kind of few and far between when you'll get to actually use those. So my recommendation for the campaign when you're leveling is going to be between these two, assuming that the patch doesn't gut these two minions, and then you're forced to play the new league a totally different way. Now here's the cleric, right? I didn't get a cleric in here till way later, but as soon as you get it, you're gonna want one because he's gonna drastically reduce the amount of deaths for your minions. You know, I just have Arcane Tempo on him, and Magnified Effect. Once I took Magnified Effect out of the Skeletal Snipers and the Arsonist, I would put Magnified Effect in here into the cleric. I don't know if it does anything, but you know, I just need a placeholder to put it in. As for the support gems for the Skeletal Storm Mage, Overcharge, right? This makes your shock chance or your shock from 20% to 35, which is a lot. Conduction, 100% more chance of shock, and then Stormfire, so that way the shocks don't expire on ignited enemies. It's really nice. This will actually proc every boss fight. So really good to have. Let's see, did I cover everything? So just to go over it again, this is all I had for my dog. The Bloodlust, Martial Tempo. And then the Brutality, I would slip into the dog in case I wanted to manually detonate gas clouds. Contagion, Unleash right away. Right? Hinder as soon as you can get it, which is really nice. This one right here, Chaotic Freeze. This was just in here because I was experimenting. You don't actually need this. This is a complete waste of time. Maybe it'll change in the next update. Your Skeletal Sniper, it's gonna be... What just happened? Your Skeletal Sniper, it's gonna be Scattershot, Feeding Frenzy, and Bidding. And then for your Skeletal Arsonist, Scattershot, Feeding Frenzy, and Magnified Effect. Raging Spirits, you can put whatever you want here. I have Lacerate. You can put Fire Infusion. I have Infernal Legion in here because whenever I use it with Skeletal Arsonists, I like to manually detonate them when they're on the low life. Essence Drain, I have Intense Agony, Controlled Destruction, and Considered Casting. You'll just put these in whenever you can put them in. Storm Mage, Overcharge, Conduction, Stormfire. And yeah, that's it. The Flame Wall, you can put Fortress in here, but I really didn't need it. I really only use Flame Wall to cast Raging Spirits and to detonate Gas Cloud. Now let's go into the big thing, the passive tree. So the passive tree is actually the most important thing because all your damage is going to come from the passive tree. The way it works with the passive tree for... Let me put this over here. The way it works for the passive, the way it works for the Infernalist or the Witch is that all these minion nodes in the beginning, they give you so much strength. And you don't really have to rely so much on plus minion gear for minion strength. It's going to be the level of your gem is going to give you minion damage and then your passive tree selection. So this is how I level it. I get these initial nodes right here. All these initial starter nodes altogether are like 89% increased minion damage. And then I immediately go right. I go up here. And I don't actually take Gravedigger or any of these. I make a beeline for all these guys. Relentless Fallen and Fear of Death. So the accuracy, right? The reason I get accuracy is because I noticed that whenever I use Gas Arrow, this is not all the time, by the way. This is like for maybe boss monsters or rares, like actually later down the line. I noticed the damage kind of varies. So it's like missing. And I had this issue with accuracy when I did the Arsonist video a while back. I noticed that when I was doing Simulacrum without these accuracy nodes, with level 30, like level 34 Arsonists, it took me really long to clear waves in Simulacrum. So I added an accuracy for my Arsonist while doing Simulacrum, and it made the damage way more consistent. So I do the same thing now for leveling. To have consistent damage with my gas arrows, I make a beeline for this, and I get these nodes. On the POB too, it says that your accuracy is 97% with gas arrow. So without these, I mean, let's check it right now actually. So I have the POB adjusted here. My skeletal sniper minions are level 2 right here, but their combined level is 18 because I have 16 on my gear. This is my end game build, right? But then I adjusted the levels so that way my skeletal snipers are level 18. And then I set the enemy level to 65. So this is like a Doryani, I guess, standard boss, right? End of Act 3 Doryani fight, level 65. And if you look at the calcs for accuracy is 79%. And this is gas arrow. So I would notice sometimes that my gas arrow wasn't really chunking as much as it usually did. This is before Doryani. I'm just using Doryani here as an example. Like for some other bosses, it wouldn't chunk as much as it did. So that's why I made this change. And you take the accuracy nodes, right? We'll take all these 3 accuracy ones. If you look at the calcs again, hit chance for gas arrow goes up to 100%. So that's why I really recommend making a beeline straight for this. When you initially level, you'll come up here, go up here, beeline straight right there. Get Fear of Death. And then after that, you come up this way and you'll get this guy, Restless Dead. This will be your 25% minion revive instead of getting Gravedigger and all that stuff. By the time you get this node, you'll be like the early Act 2. So it's not that far off to get this. It does suck a little bit because, you know, your minions are kind of low when you're fighting Draven and Asuna in the cemetery. They constantly kill your minions and you have to wait for a revive, but you'll be all right. You'll be good. And then I make my way here. Growing Swarm, Area of Effect, cooldown recovery rate. I'll take this guy for a little bit of elemental res for your minions. Then I'll come down here and I'll take these. Deadly Swarm. These 3. After that, taking Deadly Swarm, I'll come up and start getting Energy Shield. And I'll get Vile Mending. Vile Mending is really, really good. You'll get Vile Mending, and it's really beneficial to get Vile Mending before you have Clerics. Their health actually, in a sustained fight when you're not being mobbed by a ton of monsters, your minions won't die. It'll take them a while to die, which gives you more time for more gas arrows because of the cooldown recovery rate. Then after you get this, you can either come up here and get these points, right? You come up here and get these points, or you could start coming up towards getting this Lord of Horrors to get the reduced reservation. I would get the reduced reservation, so that way more skeletons, more gas arrows, and then start getting these Area of Effect, right? Once you have this full Area of Effect, that's when you'll take Magnified Effect off. That's when you'll put in Bidding. And then if you look at their gas arrow coverage, it is 1.8, I believe. Yeah, impact radius 1.8 meters. So that's actually really nice if you're just putting gas down and just how it just starts to cover. especially when you have a bunch of them. And then you try to manually detonate. Also, even if you don't have a bunch of them and your dog is auto detonating, it's the impact radius is just larger, so it's easier to shotgun with the 3 arrows. So that's what I recommend. If you wanted to, you could put on concentrated effect, you know, smaller and more damage. But from what I saw, it was better quality of life with a larger poison radius. And then from here, after you get this, depending on how you're feeling, you can either go down here and start getting this last cross. This is kind of like the last area. Or you can get some energy shield. Because you got the energy shield from here. If you feel like you need more survivability, you can get these energy shields. And then you make your way down here and get all these guys. And then you'll be set. That's pretty much all you got to do for the campaign. You should be out of there. Right now, this is set for level 65. So yeah. You'll be doing that, and before you know it, you'll be done with the campaign. You shouldn't have any trouble. I did die, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I got one-shotted, bad positioning, that kind of thing. That'll happen to you, but you'll never get stuck. You won't get stuck. You should be able to clear normal campaign within like 3 to 4 hours. Just kind of running through it. If you know where to go. If you know where to go, and you know the right places to hit, and then you should finish that campaign pretty quick. And Act 2 Cruel, or the Cruel campaign, is going to be the same story. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is entering endgame. So endgame mapping with these stats is rough. It's hard. You're definitely, you can't run through beginning of mapping with this initial gear the way you can in the campaign, because there's a lot of monsters. There's a lot of monsters and you have to kill everything. So what you end up doing is you're spamming gas arrow 24/7. It's a little bit annoying. It's kind of annoying. I did switch to Arsonist, but then it has the same problem. You'll run into multiple rares and it takes a long time. So you're gonna have to strike that balance of how you want to play. Whatever's best for you. The good thing about minion builds for the Infernalist or minions in general, the passive tree is the same for each of them. You know, and at this level, it's really easy to have like 3 slots, interchange jewels, find out what you want to play, and that whole thing. One thing I didn't mention too is Grim Feast. Now, I didn't use Grim Feast during the campaign because I really didn't need it. I felt like I was doing pretty well. Grim Feast, you're going to want this when you start mapping. So this is assuming it's not totally gutted. We don't know what's going to happen with the new builds. You know, what they're going to change with Grim Feast. It could be complete garbage. And then, you know, you're back at square one. But essentially, when you start mapping, you're just going to have to clear everything. You have to clear all the mobs, get as many levels, get all your points, and try to fill out your tree as best as you can. I have some other videos that I have for early level builds. I'll link those in the description. They start at level 80, but you know, those builds start from level 80 and they go all the way from clearing Simulacrum 0 to Simulacrum +4. So if you need some advice on growing your Infernalist or your minion build from early maps into late endgame, I'll link those in the guide. Also, I just got to over 1,000 subscribers and applied to get the channel monetized, so thanks everybody who subscribed, commented, supported. I really appreciate it. You know, it's nice that, you know, we can finally get $2 a video. But I plan to make more videos. It'll be fun. I already have some Lich gear that I bought. I'll do a video on that. Hopefully it doesn't get wrecked and it's not a complete waste of currency. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Check out these outtakes. We need some help. Oh! Oh! I wasn't paying attention. Fuck. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, dude. Oh, dude, this is fucking impossible, dude. Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh, I don't know that attack. Damn, I was hoping I would skip this part. Oh my god, I just died. Fuck. Alright, try again. Dude, I just got one shot. Played Magic for one day.